Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mini-Sode where today we'll be talking about Alias, based on the TV show of the same name. Taking place between episodes 19 and 20 of Season 2, you play as Sydney Bristow, a highly skilled CIA agent who is called into work by an order from her father, Jack, concerning fellow agent Jacobs, who has vanished. Before he did, he sent an intel report containing info about Sydney's nemesis, Anna Espinosa, who has teamed up with two other ruthless villains, mercenary Julian Sark and Sydney's ex-boss Arvin Sloan, to unleash a plan that will destroy the world so Anna will be able to reshape it in her vision, and it's up to Sydney and her team to stop it. Full disclosure here, I've never watched Alias before, so I don't know much about these characters and their history. So if you're not an expert on the show, you may get lost on what's going on. But for those who are steeped in the lore, you'll fit right in with the plot.
Pockets. I'll smuggle in Marshall's optech for you. After you make contact with me, we can stay in audiovisual contact via your PDA.
Alias's gameplay is somewhat similar to a third-person stealth action in the vein of Splinter Cell, where you must complete the objectives of each stage as sneakily as you can. You have 007-inspired gadgets at your disposal, such as tools for hacking computers, disabling security systems, bypassing laser traps, and more. You can also change costumes as part of the disguise you're given for each stage. Then you can go back into Sydney's battle attire that doesn't look like it gives much protection. Oh well. Sadly, the gadgets don't feel as useful as they would in a James Bond or Splinter Cell game, especially the computer hacking, where you have to guess the code randomly. Trust me, you'll spend way more time on these than you should. It's more luck-based than anything else. The big problem with this game, though, is that although it's touted as a stealth game, you end up in combat more times than you want. Thankfully, Sydney not only has the melee chops to take on the bad guys, she can also pick up environmental weapons like knives, brooms, pans, and so on, as well as some assault rifles, albeit with limited ammo. Unfortunately, the combat is very clunky, with hits not connecting very well and enemies getting more grabs on Sydney than anything else. Add in the factor of a health meter that slowly refills, and you have a game with a very unbalanced difficulty that leads to numerous game overs. I will say, however, it's a saving grace that the developers are gracious enough to place numerous save points all over the stages like candy. Visually, Alias isn't a bad-looking game. The various locales look pretty good, with a casino in its various sections, museum, desert, asylum, and more. While the characters look somewhat alike to their real-life counterparts, even if their mouths don't want to work all the time. In the audio section, the music is the kind you'd more than likely find in the show, which means epic action symphony pieces with a dash of electronic, which is alright. As for the voice acting, the majority of the cast reprise their roles for the game, like Jennifer Gardner as Sydney, Victor Garber as her dad Jack, and Kevin Weissman as Marshall, to name a few.
So, needless to say, thank you for saving my life. Again. To be honest, I've sort of lost count how many times you've done that. That is, if you include things like averting international incidents. Well, the point is, I'd like to try to return the favor with this. Well, I analyzed the stabilizing element they used on the fuel cell from the last mission and basically designed its chemical opposite, deionized nitroglycerin. Now, you may be thinking, gee, Marshall, that's really great, a highly volatile compound. I'd really prefer a box of chocolates as a thank you. But, you see, the deionization process should give you a few minutes to make your escape. That way you can come back alive before the big bang. Thanks again.
Alias, sadly, is a game made for the fans, and even then, it's hard to recommend. Sure, it's faithful to its source material, and it even has the cast of the show lending their talents to it. Unfortunately, with clunky combat and boring use of the gadgets and tools, it's not worth playing, especially when there are games out there that pull this off in a much better fashion. Best to leave this one disavowed. And with that, this is the Dolly Popka. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Yeah.